Alright, welcome back. I had to take a break, mostly because it's Stampede here in Calgary, and people have free barbecues and breakfasts everywhere, and so my apartment complex had some free burgers and hot dogs and fruit and yogurt and deliciousness, and so I am now very full. If I seem a bit more sluggish, it's because my stomach is expanded and full in processing food. But anyways, back to the orcs. Okay, so last time we talked about all the different rules and equipment and all the stuff that kind of changed. Let's talk about the actual units themselves, and let's see, points wise and stats wise, what has changed. So first, HQ choices. All right, War Boss and Weird Boy on the wrist page. I kind of like this look of it. It's nice. I mean, at the same time, I like everything kind of organized on a couple pages, but in the back, the reference sheets are pretty good. They're pretty good. I like it. But that's pretty good. Oh, also, we few things we missed that I did not talk about that has changed. In that WOG plane, we'll get to that actually. We'll get to that. Never mind. So there's a few things I missed, but we'll get to it with the models. So War Boss, still 60 points, just as before. Takes things from ranged weapons, melee weapons, runts and squigs, orc you know what's, gifts and gork and mork. So we talked about the gifts of mork and mork. They're awesome. So ranged weapons is Shuda, Twin Link Shuda, combi weapons, combi rocket or combi scorcha. And the combi scorch has gone up in points. And the combi rocket's gone down in points. Just because scorches are much better than rockets. Which is unfortunate because I love to just spam the combi scorches and they're fantastic. Now it's a significant increase in like points, another 5 points per. And it's not a lot, right? But with orcs, again, a few extra points means a few extra boys, which means a few dozen more attacks. right? So so that's that. Melee weapons, just big chopper, power claw. The runts and squigs, you can either take ammo runts, grot oilers. I guess that's only if you're a mech or a big mech. And grot orderly is only if you are a pain boy, but the attack squig. So attack squig is still 15 points, but you only get the reroll instead of an extra attack. So there's that. Not as good. Nerf. But the War Boss, important thing about the War Boss is it gives you the WOG. Okay, so the WOG. You can call it WOG. So everyone with every go can charge in the assault phase even if they made a run move that same turn. So it just really, really extends the threat range of our boys. And you combine it with the boarding planks off a vehicle, then you're moving 6, deploying out another 6, running 6, or D6, and then charging 2d6 plus 2 with a reroll on one of those dice. It's pretty far, right? Let's do it. Okay, so 6 plus 6. We'll just include the 2 right away, so that's 12-inch, assuming there's no difficult terrain. And then there's 3d6 re-rolling one of those dice. So on average is about 11. With the re-roll, it's added up to like another 13. So 26, 27-inch threat around average. Not bad. If you get the Warlord trait to re-roll everything even more. I like it. It's pretty good. The only problem is that our vehicles are so squishy, and especially the way 7th edition is, since 6th edition, everybody can just shoot the crap out of everybody, and just killing vehicles is not very hard anymore. And so if a truck can get that far and get in, you're laughing. It's amazing. But if they do kill the trucks, then, well, everyone's talking about, well, we'll get to that anyways. But the WOG is super important, and you only get it if you bring a War Boss. And if he's your Warlord. Okay, so at first I thought if you bring multiple War Bosses, you can do multiple WOGs, but it has to be a War Boss, and the War Boss has to be the Warlord. So you can't get more than one WOG per turn unless you bring the formation that's in this book, which we'll get to later. And then you can WOG every turn, except the first one. So yeah, same as before. Start your turn before the first, you call WOG, and there you go. pretty good. Pretty good. I like it. I like it. Other than that, War Boss, very, very standard. You want to be throwing a Power Claw on him just so he's Strength 10, AP 2, with his five attacks on the charge. It's just solid War Boss, right? But he only has 3 wounds, toughness 5, but he can only get heavy armor, and like the cyborg body is only a 6 up feel no pain. So it's just like he's a bit less survivable than he was before, which is unfortunate because if your warlord dies before a WOG is called, then you don't get your WOG, right? Because if your warlord dies, then you can't call the WOG, which is kind of like fantasy. Like it does that, right? But it is what it is, okay? Weird Boy. We talked about the Weird Boy powers before, okay? So they're only 45 points right now. They used to be 55, so that's 10 points cheaper. And then upgrade to a level 2 Psyker, which is kind of like the Warp Head ability. You got the reroll on the chart, now you just get 2 spells that you can get 25 points. So it's 15 points cheaper, which is fantastic. And then you automatically get the +1 warp charge point, like the WOG energy, no matter if you upgrade them or not. So you're almost always going to have 2 warp charges per Weird Boy, which is pretty good. And you have your Weird Boy staff, which is again the force weapon and +2 strength. And he's got Furious Charge, so you know, strength. He can do some good damage now. Like he's pretty good in combat now, which is great, which is kind of what we needed. Because the Weird Boy was like, okay, good, but it was just too random and stuff. So he's a lot more consistent now. That great weapon, he can do some good stuff, and we'll see. So we can take Power of the WOG or Demonology, but again, Demonology, if it's not your thing, then you could possibly just roll Perils of the Warp really easily. So it's kind of risky. Although Demonology spells are kind of like the Orc spells, but slightly better in a lot of ways. But I think the Orc spells are good enough. Good enough. Then we have the mech. Okay, the mech is kind of unique because I mean, it looks pretty cool. Look at that guy. But he is an HQ choice, but he's never really meant to be an HQ choice by himself. He's only 15 points. That's so cheap. So if you wanted to just spam tons of boys and toys and stuff, and you didn't want to drop a lot of stuff, and you weren't worried about the WOG rule or whatever, and just fill those HQ choices, or the one that's necessary, or if you bring the extra Orc attachment, you just need the one necessary Orc choice, 15 points, you got a mech. Which is cool for other armies as well, because they can take an Orc detachment as allies, right? And then you just, as your HQ choice, you bring a mech and it's 15 points. Right? It's like no investment whatsoever, and then you just bring a big squad of boys, and it's just like there's your side attachment. So that's really cool, I thought. But the main reason that mechs are cool is because for every other HQ choice you bring, they come free in the Force Org, 1 per, as long as it's not another mech, right? So if you take a big mech, you take the War Boss, you take the Weird Boy, take like the 5 other ones that we have. We'll get to those. The rule is mechanics, and so you can include a single mech chosen from this data sheet. These selections do not use up Force Org slots, and before the battle, immediately after determining Warlord traits, any mech that is not already part of another unit must, if possible, be assigned to any unit with their infantry or artillery type in their detachment. And you can't leave it, and you're treated as a part of the unit for the entirety. So it doesn't count as like another kill point, it's just part of that unit. They are characters though, they're not independent characters, but they are characters. So what's great is that for every warlord you bring, again, we're probably going to be maxing out our warlord slots. So basically you're getting 3 to 4 mechs on the side. They can go anywhere. They don't have to be with your warlord, they can go anywhere. Which means you throw them in your boy squads, and then when your knob is going to get picked off by a challenge, you're like, send in the mech! He will fix it up! You know, Orc mentality, right? They're like, you're good at fixing things. You're going to fix this challenge. Alright? So, you go in, there's this epic war, whatever, and then they're like, mech. And the mech goes in, and he probably dies, and if he doesn't, that's great. But then your knob with the power claws, killing all the rest of the guys in the unit with his power claw, he's just doing great work, cutting all their armor up, and then all of a sudden, like, the big challenging guy is like, I killed him, aha! And all of a sudden his unit is dead because the real threat was killing everything. And so your knob power cloud delivery system with the boys starts to work again because you can have more characters in the unit. Right? 15 points. It's cheap. It's nice. I love it. And especially with independent character rules, if you have your war boss there as well, I'm pretty sure the mech can accept the challenge and the war boss can just come in and just bash on them as well. If it's like, a big monstrous creature. So it's nice. It's nice, right? So, and that's basically mechs. I mean, you can give him a kill saw to make him, it's like a power claw, but he's only strength 3. He's basically a boy, for all intents and purposes. He has the same exact stats as a boy, or a basic mech that you can upgrade from a loot or a burn squad from like the previous codex and this codex. So he's really nothing special, but again, one more repair roll. So again, if you're really going that mech route as well, with the Gorkanaut, Morkanaut, again, putting in like a group of Burnas with like whatever, just throwing that extra mech and extra repair roll. It's nice. It's nice. You can't take any super special stuff. You can take stuff from the mech weapons list. And so from the mech weapons, you do have the custom Mega Slugga, which is like a plasma pistol, or anything else. So it can give some cool stuff, but mostly it's just he's a fodder guy. Okay, Big Mech. Woohoo! 35 points, same as before. All right, pretty cheap. But and he can take stuff from the mech weapons, melee weapons, runts and squigs, orc you know what's, gifts of Gork and Mork lists, so you can have all that fun stuff. Oh yeah, you can also give him mega armor, and when you do give him mega armor, then you can either give him the custom force field or the Teleporty Blasta. The Teleporty Blasta is like this cool gun that... Let's just bring up the rules for it, because he's the only one who can take it, I'm pretty sure. I don't think Mega Knobs can take it. Nope. So, the Teleporty Blasta, what it is it's only range 12, so it's like a pistol, but it's strength 8, AP 2, assault 1, blast. And if you roll a 6, then it has instant death special roll on the roll of a wound. And so potentially pretty cool, but it is 25 points in addition to the 40 points you're already upgrading. And so your big mech has gone up to 75, so 100 points without anything else. But he's in mega armor though, so he's a lot harder to kill. Just throw with your mega knobs, potential, because it is a blast, right? So you're hitting more stuff. Again, good stuff to take out that armor, and it's strength 8, another strength 8 thing, so at ranged when you can't get into assault. It's only 12 inches away though, so it's kind of like risky. I don't know. I like it. It seems like it could be good if you're going to bring him in mega armor. But you don't have to have the custom force field with the mega armor. You can just take it normally. And the shock attack gun. The shock attack gun's only 50 points. So again, it's only 85 points for a big mech with a shock attack gun, which it used to be 90 before. So again, points, little point savings here and there. You can't take the cyborg body anymore with him, but again, you really need it. You just take heavy armor for 4 points and hope for the best, or just stick him with the unit and hopefully you just don't allocate any stuff to him, because he's just got his 2 wounds. He's the same stats as before. Actually, every stat seems exactly the same as the previous codex. But yeah, it's just big mech. The shock attack gun, the chart changed a little bit. Let's open up to it. It's still range 60 inches, strength 2d6, AP2, ordnance 1, large blast. That's all the same. If it's a double, right? It's a double 1. Instead of having a large blast and removing everybody from play, it's just you remove the mech. So that's pretty good. Well, not great, but it's better than before. Before you destroyed the squad you're with. Now you just destroy the mech. That's good. Double 2s, same as before. Double 3s, same as before. Double 4s is strength 6 AP6. It used to be strength 4 AP4, I do believe. Zoink, same thing as before. Double 5s is you just teleport and you're locked in combat with them, which is hilarious, as always. Yep. Bazap, which is an 11, when you're rolling a 5 or 6, then you still scatter as normal, but it's only under the template hole that's hit. So it's a very kind of, maybe not. Hopefully you shot at a vehicle and it's strength 10. But before you had to skip your next shooting phase. In this one, you don't. You just keep on shooting, which is good. This is very good. One less detriment, because if you're shooting one last turn with it, it's a really big deal. Then there's Krakoom, instead of it used to be called a roar. That's double sixes. So you have the vortex special rule, which means when you shoot, it doesn't go away. There's a big vortex in the middle of the battlefield, and then it just scatters around. Which is when if it's the beginning of the game, your first turn, you like put that vortex, all of a sudden you're wreaking havoc, and it's pretty awesome actually. So double six got even better. Fan freaking tastic. Love it. So big mech shock attack gun. It's just slightly better and slightly cheaper. So yeah, good stuff. But I'm really curious to see that the custom or the teleporty blasta, that cool looking thing on the back of it. I don't know, there's a picture in here somewhere. Anyway, so that's the big mech. Pain Boy. Okay, so normally that's what we had, right? The War Boss, the Weird Boy, and the Big Mech. Those are our HQ choices that weren't the character HQ choices, right? And again, we have the mech, but again, for reasons that I stated before, it's rarely going to be a primary HQ choice. They're just going to be brought along as helpers. And free little mechs, characters that put in extra characters in our units to eat up challenges. But the Pain Boy is now a character. Well, obviously, it was always a character, but the Pain Boy is now an HQ choice. So with the HQ choice, it's like, again, it's taking one of those very valuable choices, but it can go anywhere, right? It's not an independent character, it's just a character. But it's funny that because you can put a Pain Boy as your war boss, your warlord, if you really wanted to. Again, no benefits whatsoever, but if you're not sold on the Weird Boy, if you're not sold on the Big Mech, and you don't want a bigger war boss, for whatever reason, you can just put Pain Boys in all your big squads. And you give everyone Feel No Pain, which again makes this a lot more survivable. If it's like, well, 1/3 of the time it just makes a big squad of 30 boys, even though you're a bit slower because you don't have the WOG, or maybe you just bring a War Boss and you bring 3 Pain Boys or 2 Pain Boys, and if you again with the Force Org manipulation, you're bringing a detachment as battle brothers of the same faction, and then you get a 4th HQ choice. So you could bring a War Boss and 3 Pain Boys. 3 big squads of boys with Feel No Pain running at you with a WOG turn. Pretty scary, right? I like it. It's pretty good. But the Pain Boy, same as before, he's just a knob upgraded. Pain Boy used to be a 50-point upgrade, and so Pain Boys actually got cheaper because they used to be like a 20-point model. They used to be just like 70 to 80 points, depending on what kind of upgrades you gave them. But he can also take the different runs and squigs, so for like extra like rerolls and Feel No Pain and stuff. Not a huge deal, and I wouldn't really give him anything else. He's good how he is, but yeah, just 50 points to give everyone in the unit Feel No Pain is pretty awesome. I wish it would have been more like the Blood Angels, like Apothecary, where I'm really not too familiar, but it used to be like they're like an elite choice where you could bring like 1 to 3 and then split them up or something. And so that would have been really cool, but maybe a little too powerful with orcs. Because you can bring those massive squads, and they're already toughness 4 as it is. So I understand why they didn't do that, because that would just be like an auto-include. It's like, what? Elite choice, 1 to 3 Pain Boys. Boom! Automatic, everyone would take it, because it'd be so amazing. So as an HQ choice, it's very interesting as an HQ choice. But there it is. And so we can take them and make any unit we want have Feel No Pain and that much more tougher. Mad Dog Rotsnick, he made it. He made it through the cut. Mostly just because they have a model for him, looks like. Anyone who didn't have a model was kind of cut. Mainly Wazdaka and apparently in the new starter set, you're gonna get a new War Boss, Gruck. So because I was really confused because they in the beginning of it, there's like this big fluff piece on Wog Gruck. So Wog Gruck is all like, yeah, the cool guy and all this stuff, and it's all, and you're like, okay. And apparently he will be a character with his own stat line and everything. I'm not sure how it'll work in conjunction with the Codex and everything for like normal detachment rules and everything. But apparently he's his own HQ choice. That's pretty cool. So we'll just have to wait until that comes out to see what his stat line will be. He'll be another HQ choice, looks like. Another character HQ choice. Because Gazkul they took out too. They put him in Lord's War. So bleh. That's okay. That's okay though. Okay, so Mad Dog Grotnik, he's 160 points. He's basically the same. He gets Fearless, or gives Fearless, but if he's a Warlord, he automatically gets the Brutal but Cunning Warlord trait, which again, the one that isn't that great. So it's just more convincing not to take Mad Dog Grotnik, because he's a little more than the cost of 3 Pain Boys. And sure, he gives the Fearless special rule, which is great. He's not even in... Yeah, no, he's just there. I don't know. That's that. Next, we have 2 characters that used to be unit upgrades, but now they're HQ. We have Boss Zadstruck and Captain Badrock. So they are essentially... Well, Captain Badrock is basically the same, except he went down, I think, 25 points. He used to be like 135. So that's fantastic. And you can take up to 3 Emma runs with him. If you take him, his Warlord trait is that he can reroll Cunning but Brutal. Pretty sure you can just reroll armor saves. 1 armor save per turn, which is good. Keeps him a lot more alive because he has 3+ save. He has power armor. He has his own set Gifts of Gork and Mork. His 3+ armor save and 5+ involved. So it makes him a lot more survivable. And he has a Strength 7, AP 2, Assault 3, gets Hot Gun. Again, he needs to be painted, but oh yeah. I'm definitely going to be trying him out. Because, yeah, he's only 110 points. Which is expensive, but not that expensive. Also, there's Git Finder. Okay, so the War Boss can also take Git Finder, and I think also the Big Mac. Basically, if you stand still, then you get +1 Ballista skill. So that's pretty good. It's pretty good. Especially for a Big Mac. Well, I mean, the Big Mac with the blast, -1 off your scatter. I don't know if that's worth it. But for the War Boss or Captain Badrock comes with it. But depending on what kind of gun you have, might be worth it to put on a War Boss. Probably not, but it's cheap. It's cheap, so who cares? Boss Zagstruck, he used to be the king of Storm Boys, who would be able to assault in and charge and do all this crazy stuff. And I know there's like the supplement that you can buy with Gazkul, and there's like a formation where you can take like 3 squads together and you can assault and charge, and it's this massive blob of Storm Boys. That's pretty cool, but we're just going to keep to what's in this codex, because I'm not sure the rules for using those other supplements and what. I don't even know. I'm too far behind. Please comment below. But anyways, as is, he gets the Bellowing Tyrant special rule. So this is the only reason to take him, because he guarantees gets the Warlord skill Bellowing Tyrant, which allows everyone to re-roll their morale and pinning checks around him. And so all of a sudden he's kind of like this focal point. It kind of just stays in the middle of everybody and does that. But the only problem is that he's a Storm Boy. He kind of wants, as jump infantry, to get in there as fast as possible. So again, depending on what else you're bringing with, and how your list is running, he still could be in the center. Or again, he doesn't have to go with Storm Boys. He can just go with the normal guys, and then he can leave when he needs to and jump forward and like kill something. The main problem is that he. I don't get it, because he has the Vulture Claws, right, which were power claws, but when he assaulted or charged, he got initiative. He got a normal initiative with him, which was like why he was pretty cool, right? He was expensive but pretty cool. He's only 65 points now, which is way cheaper than it was before. But the Vulture Claws, all they do is they give Strength 8 AP2 Hammer of Wrath attacks. But he doesn't have the Hammer of Wrath special rule. He just has... He has the mob rule, or no, he has Ere We Go, so if you charge 10 or more, then, but although, he's jump infantry, right? So if you move normally 6 and then charge with the jump packs, you get Hammer of Wrath. So I guess that's okay, but 1 Strength 8 AP2 attack, I don't know, it's just, again, he's only 65 points, he's cheap. At least, I mean, he's more expensive than the War Boss, right? But the War Boss, you're bringing the Power Claw, you're bringing the boss, all the extra stuff. So the War Boss is actually a lot more expensive. But, yeah, it's tricky. If you already have the model, yeah, but I wouldn't go out and buy the model if otherwise. Maybe. Again, it depends on the other supplement, right? But that's our HQ choices, right? So we have 2, 4, 6, 8 HQ choices, right? And a lot of them are encouraged to bring like multiple of them. Like bring up 4 weird boys with the WOG energy rule. You could bring like wait, 4 times 3. That's 12 dice you're generating every turn. You're like, take that, freaking Grey Knights. They'll probably still make more, but it doesn't matter. Like there's a force to be reckoned with. And you could, yeah. And the frazzle rule is great. I mean, just our Primaris power is fantastic. You can just, it's a good, solid Witchfire spell. So there is that. So our troops choices are down to like nothing. Before troops, if you take a war boss, you get Knobs' troops or Mega Knobs' troops. If you take Daki, you get Bikes' troops, like all this other stuff. But we've lost all that. There's none of that happening anymore. And so our troops are either boys or Gretchen. That's it. Boys, you get your 10 boys for 6 points a model. If you want them to get shooters, they're 1 point more. And so it's like, really? Really? You know, like, so 7-point boys, it just gone up in price. I mean, sure, they get stick bombs for free now, which is cool. But with the mob rule severely nerfing massive squads in them, and they're more expensive now with sluggas. One cool thing is that you can take heavy armor on as many, because before it was Ard boys, you could only take 1 unit with heavy armor. The rest had to be normal, but now you can take heavy armor on all of them. But that means they're going up to 10 points a model, maybe 11 points a model. It's just like it's really expensive. Like, really expensive. And a lot of guns have at least AP4. If you find you're playing stuff with tons of AP5 weapons, it might be worth it. But, I don't know, it's hard. It's hard. Because I love bringing tons of cheap guys, and you're like, but people are so good at shooting now in these new editions. So, it's not in the glory days of 4th edition, where we just clobbered everybody. Or even 5th edition. Alright, so there's that. Rocket launchers are 5 points cheaper, like I said before, so that's nice. Because I still like rocket launchers more than big shooters. It just makes it easier to take them now. And then the knob can take combi weapons now, so that's pretty cool. It can take from the melee and range weapons list. So he can take his power claw. You just always want to take a power claw. And then with the range weapons, you can take like a combi scorcher or whatever, which could be really useful. Like, that random combi scorcher with the Overwatch or whatever when you need it. I like that. I like that the knobs can take that now. And of course, as always, you can take a truck as a dedicated transport. Now again, there's the debate, because the truck, okay, so back in 5th edition, again, 2 editions, well, it's really only 1 edition of it, because the 7th edition is like a polished 6th edition. It's really not a new edition. But 5th edition, you could move 12, and then get out 3, and then run D6, and then charge 6. So that total distance is not that much shorter than the current, it's about the same distance, right? Because it's the 12 plus the 3, the 15, plus another D6, or plus a 6 running, it was 21, plus another D6. So on average, with the run move, and when you WOG, you get fleet, so you could re-roll the run move. So re-rolling, so it's, you know what, on average, it's pretty close to what we can now. Except for the fact that trucks will kill us when it explodes now, as I said before, and we'll get to that more. And people are just so much more shooty that the ability to massacre a squad of trucks is that much higher. And so people are excited. They're like, yeah, the trucks are so fast, we're going to do assault from like a bajillion miles away. But really, it's just slightly better than what we had the last edition when we were good. And it depends on dice again. There's more randomness to it. And there's so much more that can kill the trucks now. Or armies are more skewed like that. So it's like, is it really that good? Again, it depends on what you're playing against and how well you can try to protect your trucks. I mean, you can give them 5-up invulns, right? If you bring that big mech on a custom force field, probably on a bike, right? Because I'm pretty sure you can do that. So they make them a little more survivable and faster and keep up with your trucks. And so if he's like running up and behind and blocking line of sight, trucks can block line of sight. But that's just giving them, that's just like cover, right? But I guess you can give them cover no, it doesn't work. So it's just like, and then before we can get cover on a 4-up before, and then to keep our trucks alive, and even then they died a lot. And so now it's just like, it sounds really good, and potentially really good, if your trucks can survive to be able to do that. Like, they need to survive that first turn of shooting. And I just find it really hard to believe that that's going to happen, right? It's just unfortunate. It's the truth. It's the truth. So boys, again, at some part, it's like, okay, boys are cool because they can go so much faster and kill stuff. But at the same time, with the mob rule, it's just I'm just confused. Okay, I'm just really confused, because if you're blowing up a truck, you're taking a pinning check, losing some boys, taking a morale check, losing some more boys, and all of a sudden you have like nothing left, and just, and even if you have a character in your unit, if you have less than 10, there's only like a small chance that you right? It's not always a guaranteed pass. You know what I mean? The mob rule, it just really screws with the way orcs were played before. And we're going to take some time to adjust and figure out how to properly play them. So boys, I'm just not sold on boys anymore. I mean, they're still great. They can be. But it's just getting them there. Once they get there, they're going to smash faces. They always have, if not better now. But it's just getting them across the board is going to be a real challenge. Real challenge. Gretchen, they're basically the same. We talked about the different grot pods and grab sticks and all that kind of stuff. I think if you upgrade everything, they're a tiny bit more expensive, but it's basically the same. 3 points per model, 10 points per run for every 10. And they just sit on an objective or do something silly. Distract! And so that's good. On to the elite choices. The elites. Burna boys, they're 1 point more expensive because Burnas or template weapons are just buffed in the recent edition. So that makes sense, although I don't like it. But the main thing about Burnas is they lost their ability to like tone it down to a blowtorch and cut through armor, right? They can no longer do that. And so I'm pretty sure. Let me double check. Page 94. Burna. Are you going to tell me anything cool? I'm hoping you will. Burna. Never mind. They still have it. Sweet. Sweet. So they have a strength user, AP3, melee, two-handed. So they still have that. That's wonderful. I thought they took that out for some reason just because the old Codex where they placed it. So that's good. So Burnas are still quite good. So that makes perfect sense why they're at a point more expensive. And so they're still a viable option, but again, you just have to get them into combat or get them close to combat so they can just lay out stuff. And again, the battle wagon option is still available. Again, you can't kind of just tap one guy. You don't get the extra extended range because they clarify with the rules and the wound pools and all that kind of stuff. So they made sure that would never happen or be abused anymore. But maybe viable. But again, you can move 3 of them up to mechs, and you can give the mechs kill saws. Again, this is for killing vehicles. But we have so many other things that can kill vehicles. I don't know if that would be worth it. But we can have up to 15 of them, and basically the same. And they got stick bombs, so cool. That's that. All right, we're gonna move on because whatever. Tank busters buffed a lot, I think. One, they got the tank hunter special rule, which is finally right. It's like, come on. They also have tank buster bombs, which are melt the bombs. I guess that was about the same as before. They have stick bombs in there. They all have rocket launchers, which are great, but they are only 13 points a model instead of 12 or instead of 15. So 2 points a model. Only 2 points, but still, when you're bringing lots of guys, that's lots of saved points. That's fantastic. The main thing is the bomb squigs. They're a bit better now because they count as a shooting weapon, and the tank hammers you can take on them. You could take up to 2 of them. So same as before, but the tank hammers are strength 8 AP3. Okay, so not only are they whacking vehicles and doing some great damage to their rear armor, like just blowing them up, but they're killing stuff and like big stuff. Like you go to like a monstrous creature that has a like toughness 6 or 7 and like armor, like a 3-up armor. You get some tank busters in there. They're like running up and they're like, well, we like to kill tanks, but your armor is just as easy. And all of a sudden, those are like guaranteed wounds, and they're getting 2 attacks each, right? It's a 2-handed weapon, but still, base thing of a boy is 2 attacks. So on a charge, you're getting 3 attacks each. Like, these guys are just taking down monstrous creatures, right? Or like, as long as they have a 3-up save. And when they get to a 2-up save, they're just annoying, super annoying. But for all those big guys with the 3-up save, tank busters might be the answer. Just kind of maneuver them. And they can take a truck as a dedicated transport now. Oh, also burners. Burners can also take a truck. So it's kind of like, it's nice that everything can take trucks as dedicated transports now. But when truck explodes, it no longer has the old rule of the strength 3. It's still strength 4. So you're killing half the squad, or half the squad is going to blow up and die when the truck goes off. And with the mob rule, maybe more, right? Almost definitely more, actually. So it's just like, it's so cool that you could take trucks and everything, but it's just like, but then, it's really hard to get my mind around. And you're really going to have to play it and show it out, but it's just, it seems really cool that everyone's going to be so fast and move around and have some fun, but I think in general, a foot slogging army is going to be the way to go. It's just less chances of you getting massacred just by vehicle explosions. And tank busters do have that 24-inch range rockets. They're just like, and they're just gonna, half of them are gonna hit trees and the ground and other orcs and all these things. But the few that go through strength 8 AP3 will also kill monstrous creatures. So it's just, it's nice, and they're no longer required to hack the nearest vehicle and all that kind of stuff. So that's fantastic. Because their old Glory Hog rules, they have to attack the vehicle, but the new Glory Hog rule is that if you get first blood by killing a vehicle, you get an extra victory point, which could win you the game. Like, it's very situational, but if they're being aggressive with their vehicles, then you can walk up, shoot a bunch of strength 8 weapons at them, and possibly get first blood right there. You can pop a rhino, easy, not hard to kill. And good times. Good times. Moving on. Knobs. Knobs are still solid. They're still great. They're still tough. 2 wounds each. You can take up to 10 in a squad, but they're only 18 points now, which is fantastic. So, 2 points in model, but again, that's 20 points in a squad. If you take it, that's like a free couple. It's just free upgrades, right? You're just saving those points. You can take a truck or a battle wagon as dedicated transport, just as before. Someone could take a Wog Banner with 20 points plus 1 weapon skill, same as before. And guys can take ammo runs and boss pulls and heavy armor. War bikes cost 27 points though, so it's just weird because other war bikes, we'll get to it, but they only cost 18 points base now instead of 25. Super good. But the knobs, they in the end, they'll cost, knob bikers will cost the exact same as they did last Codex, but the bikes will be slightly worse because they won't get the cover save all the time. So I don't know how I feel about that. But the fact is that they're very fast. Knob bikers are very fast and hit super hard. And again, with everyone being so shooty orientated in Codex and just having like a few super melee solos, if they get into combat, I think they can do some really nice work. They're not shot up by Overwatch. Moving on, Mega Knobs. Mega Knobs. They are the same as before. They're 40 points per model. And you can get the Combi Scorcher, their Combi Rocket Launcher. Everything is the same. Combi Scorcher on them is still only 5 points, which is great because it's 10 on like almost everybody else, but they can only take it for 5. So they stayed exactly the same. They can take a truck or a battle wagon. Now, a truck for them is actually a lot better because the truck, when it blows up, is not gonna kill as many of them, right? And so for trucks, for maybe even knobs or mega knobs, still a viable option. I think it's still great. And with the WOG, again, they can't actually run because they're slow and purposeful, unless you take a gas coal. But then it's Lord of War and it's like extended and all that kind of stuff. So not gonna be very often. But so the WOG doesn't really help them get any more distance, but they're still decently fast with a truck, and can pwn some noobs. And again, you can take 2 kill saws on them. And so the difference is Power Claw, double strength, AP2, good stuff. Kill Saw is same thing, but Armor Bane, and you can take 2 of them. +1 attack because they're specialist weapons. So all of a sudden your base attack is 4 on them. So 5 on the charge. That's good. I mean, they're already really good. They'd already just cut through units. But now, just so much more. And it's just getting them over to the other side of the board, which I think truck is a very good option for them. Just because battle wagons are really expensive. Moving on. Commandos. They're about the same. You know, they got the infiltrate, they got stealth, and move through cover, and all that kind of stuff. So move through cover helps because you can get up further. But you can only have 15 of them in a squad, right? So there's still like that tiny little elite selection. And you can give them the Burna at 15 points a model. It's pretty expensive. But again, you can come out from the sides of the board or be up really close. So the Burnas are really good just because, again, with the cutting of the armor, it's good. Because before, the Burnas, it was only the Burna squad that I was actually able to do that. But now it's in like the profile of the weapon. So any Burna can be that base strength AP3. So that's buff. That's a good thing. A very good thing. As they can come in, and they are only 10 points a model. They're the same as before. So I mean, can be good, but again, just because they're such a small squad, they're really easily picked off. And with the mob rule, you're losing your 25% casualties pretty easily and taking checks and fling. You always want to bring a knob with them or something. But the cool thing is that Boss Snickrot is actually his own elite choice. So you can bring him by himself or just like add him into a squad. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he's an independent character. So you can just add him into any squad you want, right? But if you bring him with commandos, they count. He doesn't take him an elite choice anymore. He's just kind of like a unit attachment. So that's pretty cool. And with ambush, no dice rolls required. They can come in from wherever they want. And they have shrouded the term they come in instead of just stealth. So again, that increases their ability to survive a lot better, especially if they come in and run into cover. Then they can potentially have like, a 2-up cover or a 3-up cover, and so it's difficult, and then they can run in and start assaulting stuff. But the main thing is this Boss Snicker is only 60 points, not terribly expensive, and he has fear, which is nice. Just making people roll those fear rolls. Potentially just makes your boys last that much longer in combat and kills lots of peoples. So that's basically it. Oh, he also has Shred on his weapons. So he has Mork's Teeth. So he has a paramelee weapon, so he has 5 attacks. So he does quite a bit of work. So you can't assault the turn you come in, but with Shrouded you should be able to survive a turn to be able to get into combat and charge something. So Commandos in 6th edition I really like them, but with the new Codex I'm gearing more towards them. And I recently acquired some Commandos, so we'll see how they do. Fast attack. That's the elites. Moving on to the fast attack. Alright, so Truck. Truck is his own fast attack choice now. So you don't have to take it as a dedicated transport anymore. It actually you can take them by themselves, which is cool, which I like. But the Ramshackle rule is just... Before, it was when you blow up, you just go in a random direction or maybe blow up on the spot or maybe just get wrecked by itself, right? Not that bad. Now, it's every time you receive a penetrating hit, you roll, and on a roll of a 6, you are just glanced instead. Okay? Which can be good, okay? So, the way I look at this is if you get a couple penetrating hits, and you roll, and things are like AP1 that are anti-vehicle and stuff that people are going to bring because other people have way better vehicles in other lists, so they're just generally going to be in that. So you go to Orc list, and you're like, these crappy vehicles, you're just blowing them up like crazy because you get +2 in the chart. Anyways, with the Ramshackle rule, you possibly bring it down to just, so you don't blow up, you just wreck as a vehicle, but it's such a small chance of that happening because you're only armor 12, or armor 10, sorry. You get your 3 hull points, but it's just, most likely you're going to blow up. Just odds are. The Ramshackle rule helps it so you just get wrecked more often, but you still take pinning check, right? So it's still potentially dead boys as you're popping out of your vehicle. And it's just, they're 30 points, they're nice and cheap. I mean, if you do want to take them, you're definitely going to want to take the boarding plank and the reinforced ram, as before. Red paint job's not as necessary because, again, you only get the +1 inch in the flat out phase. And if you're going flat out, you're moving far enough that you're probably going to be right in their face anyways. But it's still fast open top transport. So again, it's just I don't know if trucks are worth taking anymore. Maybe, because I love trucks. They're so fast. But if they're going to kill half my boys, I don't want them. When they killed a third of my boys, it was fine because it was acceptable losses. But half with the new mob rule killing more, it's not acceptable. Not acceptable. Storm Boys. Storm Boys are fun. They're great. They are only 9 points a model now, like we talked before. So that's fantastic. Fantastic. And you can take up to 30 of them in a squad. These just big blobs of Storm Boys, moving really fast. And so what I'm saying is, like, boys are great, but add 6 inches movement per phase for 3 points a model. And just take minimal troops, and then just take your Storm Boys as your troops, maybe. Because they can move fast enough, and the shield will get shot to pieces still, but then they'll be able to get into combat turn 2. Especially with their ability to run 2d6 and then wog and then charge. It's a very, very big threat, and it's pretty awesome. So I'm liking Storm Boys. Storm Boys are very strong in this codex, I think. Even though they did lose their ability to move 13 to 18 inches in the movement phase, they still have that potential. I still like them, and you can take them in bigger squads, so they're a lot more durable, right? But again, they're still subject to the mob rule, so massive squads are not that great with the mob rule. But take what you can get. Def Copters. Oh my goodness, Def Copters are buffed so much. They're only 30 points. They used to be 35 points. Then there was the rockets, Twin Link rockets you want to upgrade them to because that was their role, and that would cost another 10 points. That was 45 points per Def Copters. People still took them. They were still great. Now they're only 30 points, and rockets are free to upgrade. Bah! That's amazing. That's 15 points per model. That's like a third of the cost. Or 2/3 of the cost of before, right? A third of the cost discount. So it's just like, yes! They're amazing. And they're scout. So, and they still have the hit and run special rule. I mean, they're only initiative 2, so they're not going to be able to get out of combat a lot of the time. But fact is, it's there. And they're awesome. And you can still take the buzzsaws as normal. It's 25 points, again, for only a strength 3 model. So, but you can take the big bomb as well. Big bombs, I think it's the same. Let me double check here. We're going to assume that, yes, the big bomb is the same. I can't find it. But, yeah. Oh, no, that's the boom bomb. Yeah, big bomb is, strength 4 AP 5. Yep, same as before. But, Def Copters are just nice. They're cheap enough now that you can just bring a lot more. You can bring 5 per squad, fast stack choice. Fantastic option. Dakajet, exactly the same as it was before. The Wog Plane though, the Wog Plane was nerfed. Instead of getting double shots on a turn of a Wog, you can only get +1 shot per assault weapon. So you will be wanting to upgrade that third super shooter as before. So you have those 9 shots. And so you go up to 12 shots in the Wog turn, which is still better, still good, but it was maybe a little overpowered, especially with the option to have a Wog every turn. I mean, I already found out how to get a Wog every turn, bringing max amount of Weird Boys in a previous edition, a previous codex. But this one, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could upgrade to the Fly Boss, so you get a +1+ skill against the flyers as well. The Dakajet is definitely still our strongest flyer. The Burna Bomber, again, still super, basically the same. And you have up to 6 Scorcher missiles, they're cool. They can do a lot of stuff, and you have your Burna Bombs. But it's just, they're good at lots of anti-infantry, basically, nothing else. And orcs are just, our infantry can kill other infantry, basically, if they're massing stuff. So not too bad. It's a little harder with Tyranids if they're fearless, right? Because the fearless rule is if they lose combat, who cares? Whatever, you just have to grind through them. So could be useful. But what I'm really interested in is the Blitzer Bomber. Because the Blitzer Bomber, the big bomb, the boom bomb, it's a large blast now. Okay, that's huge, because as a small blast, okay, it was strength 7, armor bane, AP 4, And so, you know, okay at killing vehicles. When it's a large blast, all of a sudden you can start catching more than one vehicle in the blast. It's almost impossible because it only scatters D6. And the mishap when they do their swoop attack, it's not quite as bad. There's a higher chance of them not killing themselves and everything. Less bad things happen, but Blitzer Bomber is actually viable now. Well, before, if you really want to play competitively, it was just the deck of jets. That's all you could take. Now Blitzer Bomber, maybe a little bit better, same point cost. War bikes. Oh my goodness, war bikes. There's a blurb about why Dr. Gutsmeg in here, but no model, no troop war bikes. But you keep the Air We Go special rule. You can't run, but I don't know where they have that rule. Charge, because charging, you could reroll that charge die. It's fantastic. And the knob can take the melee list, so the same thing, so you can have like a combi scorch in there. That's pretty cool. But the main thing is they're only 18 points. So 18 points a model. Bikes were already still pretty good in 6th edition. So now they cost 6 points less, and they're still basically the same. Again, you lose the 4+ cover all the time, but you get a 3+ cover on when you go flat out or turbo boost. And they're just more boys on a bike with a 4+ save. So they're Ard boys that can move way faster and have amazing firepower, amazing DACA. And so I'm loving war bikes. It's just yes. But then there's also war buggies now. Now war buggies are only 25 points, and upgrade to, and you can have 5 instead of just 3. So it's just all these fast attack choices. I love fast attack no matter what all the time. But now Storm Boys, legit to bring in like a nice big squad. I don't know if you want to bring. It's just so difficult to see. But again, war bikes, I definitely see more use out of them. Death Copters for sure. People who had war buggies are going to keep bringing war buggies and probably put them in squads, just so you can have more. But they're good. They're cheap. Why not? Why not? And you can have the twin link rocket launcher for free. And so little 25-point rocket buggies, just picking off stuff, taking wounds off monstrous creatures, blowing up vehicles and transports. They're solid. And if they're not doing that, then they're just pot shots at Marines and killing Marines. They only get their cover saves if they're in cover. So I like them. Now onto the heavy support. Oh my goodness. So mech guns. Mech guns, I never really used the grot guns before. The lavas, the cannons, zap guns. I mean, zap guns were just too unreliable. You just always missed and then there's nothing happened. And even if you did hit, maybe you rolled like a 2 on a strength and there's nothing happened. But now the mech guns, the lavas are still great. They're still great. I mean, they no longer cause pinning, I'm pretty sure. But they're only 18 points for a lava. That's so cheap. And you take 5 of them. And you just stick them into cover behind like some building or whatever, and they're just like every turn is just causing tons more wounds. It's great. Lavas are fantastic. I think there's the fact that you can take 5 of them together for relatively cheap is like 100 points. Yeah, less than 100 points. It's fantastic. But everyone's talking about the tractor cannon, right? Because it's 12 points, so you're talking 30 points for the tractor cannon, but still, 30 points for a tractor cannon that hits on a 4, and if you hit a flyer, they're automatic. If you damage them, they're automatically immobilized in addition to whatever you roll on either a glancing hit or a penetrating hit or whatever. And the immobilized flyer, they're never fun to fly around. They have to just fly straight. It's great. It's fantastic. You can really shut down enemy flyers right now. And before we had to take Ludas, and that was our only real option. Just because, like, well, strength 7, hopefully we roll so many dice that we're going to kill you anyways. But now we have, like, a dedicated anti-air gun. Which, again, depending on your meta, depending how many people are bringing flyers or not, potentially really, really good. Bubble Checker is just random craziness. The custom Mega Cannon is, like, and a Smasher Gun. They're alright, I guess, but I guess they're dedicated ranged, like, anti-vehicle. Or anti, like, big stuff, but I don't know. I don't really like them too much as like fits into a list. Again, they could be useful. They can, but in general, I don't see them fitting into my lists. Moving on to the Battle Wagon. Ooh, Battle Wagon. Battle Wagons are always so fun and hilarious, and well, they're still pretty as ever. Let me look at that guy. But, again, we really don't have a death roll anymore, okay? Death Rolla does nothing except if you're ramming. Gives you, it effectively makes you front armor 16, which is cool when you're ramming, but only if you death or glory and fail, then you hit them with these 3 strength 10 AP4, which is just nothing, really. If something's gonna death or glory you, they're probably gonna get you anyways, like if they're confident enough. Otherwise, they're just gonna step out of the way or whatever. So it's just, and if you're ramming, then your guys inside the vehicle aren't doing anything as a transport. So you kind of want to take it as a gun platform. Good thing, the kill cannon's only 30 points. And the strength 7 AP3, so it could be good. But it's just, again, the roll of the battle wagon is just, I don't know. But at the same time, if you're bringing it as transport, the Death Rolla wasn't used a whole lot. It was kind of like after you deliver your guy's stuff, you just run the stuff with the Death Rolla and cause lots of damage. But now that Death Rolla really doesn't exist too much to ram and stuff, I don't know. I don't know how much the battle wagon more is transport for knobs or mega knobs, because when it explodes, it won't kill half of them. But again, armor 14 is still not super easy to crack, and so bringing a bunch of burners in there, or maybe shooter boys and stuff, it's just knowing when to get out before it explodes and kills all of you. Is kind of like the trick there. So they are 20 points more expensive base as a battle wagon. Okay, so there's that. You can still take a cannon or a lob or a zap gun, which probably not, because you're going to be snap firing it most of the time. You can still take the 4 big shooters and 4 rocket launchers, so just keeping back and as a firing platform, just throwing tons of stuff off there. Again, could be useful. But I don't know. I do not know. It's just very similar to before, but it's more expensive. 20 more points more expensive. So if you use them before to good effect, again, just realize it's 20 more points. But everything else is so much cheaper that you'll easily make that much points up. Moving on, Death Dread. Basically the same as before, but you have the option to take Grunt Riggers now, which is it will not die. And again, you only have 3 hull points. And so if you are getting shot up pretty good, if something can kill you, it's probably going to kill you 1 turn, maybe 2. And it will not die. It gives you a small chance to bring back a hull point or 2. But for the most part, I think unless you're bringing like a big mech list with kilocans and stuff, because Death Dread helps inspire the kilocans. Because kilocans have a new rule where they can run away because they're grots and they're scared of each other, or scared of dying if you receive. Basically, they're a vehicle unit that takes morale checks. So the Death Dread helps mitigate that. So that's kind of the only role it has. If you liked it before, then it's basically the same now. So there's that. Kilocans. Alright, so the Can Claw is not as good. It's only the strength 7 now, instead of like, you give your strength 10, so you don't get those automatic awesome stuff. But it's still the AP2, so that's good. There are 2 hull points, super easy to kill. And you can give it the Rocket Launcher, Grotzuka, Custom Mega Blaster, Scorcha, as before. You can also give them Grunt Riggers at only 5 points. It's cheap because it will not die, isn't that effective when you only have 2 hull points and armor 11 and 10. But that's that. They also have a special rule called Cowardly Grots. So if you lose 25% or more casualties, just like an infantry unit, you roll a d6. And on a result of 1 or 2, it's failed, and everyone in the unit gets shaken. So that sucks. Like, hardcore. They're 50 points each, too. So they're not overly cheap. But if you have a Death Dread around, then you get +1 to that roll. So only on a roll of a 1 do you fail. So that helps. It like halves the chance that you'll fail. And then if you have more than 1 or more than 3 left in the squad, so if you get a full squad, you can actually take 6 in a squad. So that's kind of cool too, actually. So heavy support usually just takes squads of 3 and not that much. Now you can take squads of 6. So you can just mass those kilocans, and if you have a custom force field running around behind, they all have 5-up invulns, and so it's actually pretty cool. Could be cool. I like it actually. Pretty neat. The only problem is that if you're going to do that, then why not bring a Gorkanaut or a Morkanaut? These big bad boys, new models, they look so cool, but I looked at the price tag, and it was like as much as a Stampa when the Stampa first came out. And I was like, oh, I'll invest that, $130 or whatever into that Stampa, and then you look at the Gorkanaut. I'm like, why is this the same price? I mean, sure, it's like 5-6 years later, but still, still crazy. But Gorkanaut and Morkanauts, I'm not going to talk too much about them. Basically, they have some pretty good firepower. They have 5 hull points. The only way I see bringing them is if you bring some mechs to put inside of them to help repair them and bring the hull points, because then you can actually kind of win a firefight. Just because 5 hull points at armor 13 is not easy to kill in one turn. And so you're almost guaranteed you want the Grot Riggers. It's 20 points, so it's expensive Grot Riggers, but giving it Will Not Die to something that has 5 hull points, and then bringing a custom force field around to give it a 5-up invuln, and then bringing lots of mechs on a 5-up to repair, give back hull points, it could be pretty formidable, I think. It's totally legit. I mean, it's a bit of an investment, because you kind of want 2. Probably want 2 of them. I'm not just the one. Whether you want to bring the Gorkanaut or the Morkanaut, it's up to you, because you can give it the Morkanaut the custom force field. Right? Yes. But that's 50 points. So that gets pretty expensive. And it only applies to itself, right? It's not to everyone else. I'm pretty sure. Wait. Custom force field. You take it. It's not in the vehicle. No. It would give it to everybody else. Right? Am I right? Following, because it says if you're in a vehicle, it only counts the vehicle. But if you are the vehicle, then it's everyone. So never mind. So you don't. So if you're bringing the Morkanaut, you don't need the custom force field on a big mech. The big mech can take like nothing and just take the special repair thing. So he's repairing on 3+ every turn. So it's like every turn, hull point back, or added. Get your weapons back and everything. Then you take a couple Gorkanauts, and your heavy support's full. Again, you don't get to take your massive amount of cans because your heavy support's full. But I kind of like that actually. 2 Gorkanauts and a Morkanaut with custom force field, just like, and then you just fill up with like Burnas with mechs, and then for each HQ you just grab that extra mech and throw it in with the Burna squad, and then I want to see someone do it. Okay, I want to see it happen. It'll be a while since I collect 3 of them. I don't know if it'll ever happen. Maybe. Ludas are now heavy support, which kind of sucks because where else are you going to bring heavy support? I mean, if you're not bringing the Gorkanaut or Morkanaut, again, it's kind of like an all-you-can-take package. I mean, you can take them individually, okay, but they need some support kind of thing, I think. So if you're not taking that route, you have plenty of room for Ludas in your squad, right? You can take they're the up to 15 in a squad as before, and they're only 14 points each, so that's cheaper. That's nice. That's good. It's good. And they can take a truck as dedicated transport, which is potentially awesome because like the blast or barrage weapons won't really hurt you anymore. But again, if the truck blows up, you're losing half your Ludas, and they might fail command, and then just run off the board. So there's that. I don't know. It's rough. It's like it's awesome that finally you can take a truck with them as dedicated. So because before it was so annoying, you had to take a truck with boys, and the boys had to run over there and do nothing, and then you had the guy to jump in the truck and go first turn. So that's gone. I mean, everyone can take a truck now, but trucks kill your guys now more than protect them, I think. So who knows? But Ludas are still solid. They're still the same as they were before. Stat line all the same. And they have stick bombs. Everyone gets stick bombs. But the last heavy support choice, which is I'm so excited about, are these flash kits. Okay, oh my goodness, these models so freaking awesome. Pirate Orcs. Flash kits. Okay, so before they were 25 points each, right? And then you always want to upgrade them because they're only strength 4 guns. You want 5 points for strength 5 weapons. And then they were assault 2, so you wanted 5 points for assault 3. So they're like 35 points a model. And then they were a huge investment. They were still pretty good. They were in the last edition and last Codex. But now they're only 23 points a model, and they come with those upgrades included. They're strength 5 guns, and they're AP D6. You can't get the upgrade to AP D6 -1 with Gets Hot, which is unfortunate because it's really powerful. But they do have Get Finest, so if they stand still, they're Bliss Skill 3, and they're Assault 3. And so they're just solid for 23 points. It's really cheap. You can bring a lot of them, and a new kit again, so amazing. But again, that's heavy support. So the Ludas or Flash kit, kind of choose because you can't bring tons of both. But that's basically it. Then Lords of War, we can bring Gaz Clothraka, so he's still 225 points. He's basically the same. He has his own Wog, so that's cool. And buffs Meganobs like the Wither in his Wog like he did before, but he's a Lord of War choice. So again, you're not going to see him very often. And the Stomp is also there as well. And for people who hate the non-fearless special rule, just bring a Stompa and use Effigy, and everyone within 6 inches gets fearless. You just run him up and run all the boys around him, and you're fine. You're back to where you were before. And the Stompa's properly nerfed, so he's not crazy good. But you can also give him Regulus for 30 points with his 12 hull points. It will not die. Sounds pretty good. pretty good. But that's basically the Orc Codex. And I think it has a lot of potential. It's pretty good. I mean, there's still the same kind of issues that we had before still exist. Right? We just get shot off the board before we get anywhere. We're still weak that way, and the boys just won't solve anything. We're still the same with the boys and trucks blowing up. I mean, we just got... If we tried the truck spam and flying towards people, we died anyways. But again, just getting that extra D6 plus the reroll just closer, that's really like that point where we're not going to make it to all of a sudden, yes, we can make it in charge. So they get one less turn of shooting, essentially, a lot of the time. And so that's super fantastic, because one less turn of shooting is huge. And so whether to bring lots of trucks, because with the boarding planks you can get so far up the board so fast, and maybe the battle wagons, because they are tougher. With the boarding planks you can get out hopefully and charge before you blow up and kill half your guys and then pin and fail mob rule and kill another half of your guys. But so it's just like this. So it's not pure awesome. There's definitely some nerfs that have happened, for sure. It's there, but again, in general, I'm more excited to try it out and play it. Orcs definitely went up instead of going down. That's not debatable at all. I'm curious to see how Weird Boys are going to work out with all their psychic powers. That could be really cool. Flash gets, how whether they're going to survive. And again, one good turn of shooting and you just eliminate a squad of Terminators with Flash Gets. And you just laugh at them. Because they're 2 wounds each. They're like knobs. They're like a knob squad with amazing guns. And they're a knob squad with amazing weapons. And so it's just good luck to all of you. I hope you have enjoyed this little roundup, my thoughts on the Orc Codex. There is also the Warband. You get a formation in the Codex, which is cool. Normally, whatever. So we'll go over it briefly. You need a War Boss, you need a Mech, you need a unit of Knobs, or Mega Knobs, and then 6 units of boys. That's a lot of boys. See? I'm so confused. You're encouraging me to take boys again. And then 1 unit of Gretchen. And then, beyond the fact that you get the reroll on the Warlord trait, and you get the Hammer of Wrath when you roll 10 or more with charge distance, you also get Stampede, which means every turn after the first, you get to wall. And that's a lot of yelling, that's a lot of screaming, that's a lot of awesomeness. So, I can see myself trying that. Because the Wog every turn is fantastic. It's good, it's good. And then you try to get either the Bellowing Tyrant Warlord trait, or the, what's it called, the Like a Thunderbolt. I really like the Like a Thunderbolt, because you're just re-rolling all your runs and you're just creeping in on your opponent. So good luck to everybody. Play some games, comment below, see what's happening, and above all, just hey, it was short, okay, but it was full of heart, okay. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. Happy wargaming.